And in October 2023, I took a cruise from Miami to the Bahamas. My cabin was on deck 8, and the room directly across from mine was supposed to be empty. But every night, I heard footsteps coming from inside. Then one night, the door slowly opened by itself. Security searched the room and found absolutely nothing. At 3:15 a.m., I heard someone breathing outside my door. Then a voice whispered, "You're in the wrong room." I thought it was over when I left the ship, until I received a photograph taken outside my apartment. In October 2023, I took a 4-night cruise from Miami to the Bahamas. I was traveling alone, and my cabin was on deck 8 toward the back of the ship. It was a small interior room with no window. The cabin directly across from mine was empty. At least, that's what I thought. The first night, around 1:30 a.m., I heard footsteps coming from inside it. 3 slow steps. Then silence. I assumed someone had checked in late. The next night, I was walking back to my room when the door across from mine suddenly opened about 2 inches. Nobody came out. Then it slowly closed. I went inside my cabin and locked the door. About 20 minutes later, 3 knocks. I looked through the peephole. Nobody was there. The next morning, I called guest services. They checked the cabin number and told me, "Sir, that room isn't occupied." That night, I noticed a pair of wet men's shoes sitting outside the same cabin. Security came up and opened the room. It was completely empty. No luggage, no clothes, nothing. One security officer looked at me and said, "If you hear anything again, don't open your door." Around 3:15 a.m., I woke up to someone breathing outside my cabin. Then I heard a quiet whisper. "You're in the wrong room." I grabbed my phone. The footsteps disappeared. Security searched the hallway but found nobody. They moved me to another deck for the rest of the cruise. I thought that was the end of it, until the final morning. I received a photo through the ship's messaging system. It was a picture of my cabin door. The timestamp was 3:17 a.m., 2 minutes after I heard the whisper. Nobody ever explained who took it. But when I zoomed in on the metal door handle, I could see the reflection of someone standing behind the camera. I couldn't stop looking at that reflection. I zoomed in again and again, hoping I was seeing things. But the shape was definitely a person. Someone had been standing behind whoever took the picture. I immediately showed it to security. The officer stared at the screen for a few seconds. Then he asked me, "Where did you get this?" I told him it had just arrived on my phone. He didn't answer. Instead, he asked me to come with him. We went downstairs to the security office. They pulled up the ship's hallway cameras from that night. At first, everything looked normal. Then they reached 3:15 a.m. My hallway appeared on the screen. I watched myself walk out of my cabin. Then I saw something that made my stomach drop. The cabin across from mine opened. A man stepped out. He stood there for almost 30 seconds, watching my door. Then he walked toward the camera. The footage suddenly went black. The officer checked another camera, then another. Every camera covering that hallway had gone offline at exactly 3:17 a.m. I asked who the man was. The officer just said, "We don't know." Then he pulled up the passenger list. There was one name that caught my attention. A man had been booked into the cabin across from mine, but the reservation had been canceled 3 days before the cruise. I asked why his name was still showing in the system. The officer didn't answer. Instead, he asked me something I'll never forget. "Did you notice anyone watching you before the cruise?" I said no. He looked at me and said quietly, "Then you might want to think about why someone was waiting for you." I left the ship that afternoon. I never went back. But 3 weeks later, I received another message. No words, just a photograph. This time, it was taken outside my apartment, and in the background, I could see the same man from the cruise ship. I froze when I saw the photograph. It was my apartment building, the same hallway, the same man standing in the background. I called the police immediately and showed them everything. They checked the building cameras, but the footage from that night was missing. Then, 2 days later, I got one final message. It wasn't a photograph, it was a short video. I watched it once. It showed the hallway outside my apartment. The camera slowly moved toward my front door. Then someone whispered, "You're still in the wrong room." The video ended. I moved out that week. I never found out who the man was or how he knew where I lived. But I still have that cruise photograph saved on my phone. And sometimes I wonder if the person behind the camera was really the one I should have been afraid of.